Hi, this is Casio, and you're watching Purebred Reds Adelaide United Fan TV.
G'day guys, and welcome to the Purebred Reds Adelaide United Fan TV. I'm your host Ellis Gelios, and today we are here to of course preview the big game against the Brisbane Roar on Friday evening at Cooper Stadium. However, before we get into that, we're just going to quickly touch on the victory last Saturday against Wellington Phoenix, and what a win it was in windy Wellington, coming away with a very good away win. Really good to see us bounce back against Perth Glory, and also the fact that we had to endure an international break, which sort of can stifle momentum or that desire to get back on the winners board. So great to see that we came up as the winners over in Wellington. I said in the preview last week that I really wanted Ken Ilso to step up, given that he was more than likely going to be starting. He did of course start, and he produced the goods, scored 2 goals. One of them was a little bit debated as to whether it was his goal or not, but he was credited with it. Fantastic performance. I don't think anyone in particular had an outstandingly good game. I just think everyone was solid across the board. It was great to see us recover. That was the main thing for me. We went down 1-0, and you sort of, given the manner of the goal that we conceded, there was a bit of a tendency to perhaps think that here we go again. It's going to be another capitulation, perhaps similar to what happened against Perth Glory, but not the case at all. We're fortunate to get back on level terms just before half time, thanks to an own goal that was scored by Wellington's defender, Doyle, who actually went on to concede 2 own goals in that game, quite remarkably. But we got the win, which is all that matters, and we're sitting fourth now on the table, thanks to results not going our way the following day on that Sunday. But we're in a healthy position, and we've got a fantastic opportunity to cement our spot in that top 4 with the game against Brisbane on Friday evening. So before we get into the ins and outs, I just want to quickly give a shout out to Johnny Katrumbis from Newcastle Jets, who had a cancer diagnosis about 6 weeks ago. He's actually an SA boy, if you don't know. Played in South Australia for a lot of NPL teams before being recruited by the Newcastle Jets. He is now back in the fold for them, just 6 weeks after getting a thyroid cancer diagnosis. So what a heroic effort from him, and a great recovery, and great to see that he's been able to make a comeback so swiftly from such a difficult time in his career. So excellent stuff coming out of Newcastle to hear that news. We'll just get into the ins for Adelaide United. So coming in is Luis Dorigo and Carlo Armiento. No outs from last weekend's squad. However, the unavailable list for Adelaide is shocking when you look at the names. Baba Diawara, George Blackwood, Michael Jacobson and Mirko Boland, all unavailable for us this week. Jeez, that's pretty grim. For Raw, on the other hand, they get Stefan Mork back, of course, former Adelaide United midfielder who played an integral part in us winning the championship 2 seasons ago. Also Joe Coletti, who's got massive raps on him, the young Raw player. No outs for them as well, although Brett Holman is unavailable for them. So that's a pretty big name for them not to be bringing to Adelaide. Just a quick run through the stats. So pretty even, pretty neck and neck. We've beaten them 17 times over the course of the history in the A-League. They've beaten us 17 times, and between us and them there has been 9 draws. However, in terms of goals scored, they outscore us 54 to our 48 goals. So don't know what you might want to make of that. Key points moving into the key things to focus on. Both teams won last week after various form slumps. They haven't been winning Brisbane this season, but they've been playing really well, which I think is quite important. You could suggest that they've been quite unlucky in a few games, but with the goal scoring prowess that they have, it's probably been their own fault at times that they haven't been able to put teams away, but they have been playing really, really well. And I'd say probably since round one, their performances have been certainly in an attacking sense better than ours. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when they come here tomorrow night. We've got a dismal record against Brisbane at home. Since the first season of the A-League, I don't know what it is, but we just, at Cooper Stadium, we struggle to beat Brisbane. Like, if you asked me right now off the bat, can you recall the last 3 times we beat Brisbane at home, I wouldn't be able to do it. I really wouldn't. The one Brisbane game that I remember us winning at home quite clearly, and it wasn't technically even at home, it was at Adelaide Oval, was that that finals game in the 2014-15 season, when we beat them, when Craig Goody scored that amazing free kick and Awima Bill, I'm pretty sure, got the winner that night. And then we went on and lost to Sydney away the next week, I think it was. That was all the way back in 2014-15, and that wasn't even at Cooper Stadium. That's the last time I remember being at a game at home where we beat Brisbane. And I think also there was possibly on an occasion in 2016-17 where we might have beaten them at home as well. Not sure if I was there that day, can't quite say with full confidence that happened, but it might have. Key point though, we often struggle against Brisbane at home. It's the complete opposite when we go there though. We usually get the better of them at Suncorp. So I don't know what it is with these two teams, but they hate, the home team always seems to hate being in the position where they have to host the other side, and it always seems like it's a better ordeal when it's an away game for whichever team wins. So yeah, quite phenomenal. But anyway, moving on. How do we keep Adam Taggart quiet? He's been in immensely good form. I think he's scored 5 goals so far already this season. Few doubts when John Aloisi sort of gambled on him, bringing him over from Perth Glory. I guess that comes naturally in the A-League when the key number 9 that you've brought in is Australian, because it's just not it's a bit of a foreign kind of concept in this league. Usually all number 9s are sort of international players, so to rely on an Australian centre forward, which Adam Taggart is, and he's also still quite young, was a little bit from left field from John Aloisi, but it's working so far. Supposedly he's a confidence player. Well, he's in, he should have no reason to not have any confidence at the moment. He's been in fantastic form. We're going to have a tough job keeping him quiet. He can score goals in any kind of fashion, whether it's a delivery in the air, or someone squaring the ball to him inside the box, or a goal from long range. Adam Taggart is capable. Our centre halves are going to have their work cut out, and it looks like it'll be Elsie and Regan again who have the job on Taggart. Michael Moroney, geez, he's underrated. We really don't kind of appreciate how important he is. We need to release him a lot more going forward. I know it's happening more and more at the moment, but his crossing ability, don't underestimate it, and don't forget how well he can cross the ball in comparison to most other fullbacks in the league. He can, especially without having to take a touch, when the ball's already got pace on it, when it's already in motion, he can really whip one in quite well, and we saw that when he delivered one into Ken Ilso's forehead against Wellington. Also in the game against Newcastle Jets in round 2. The fact that he's already come up with 2 critical crosses this season, and he doesn't even seem to really have his starting position completely cemented. I don't know exactly what's going on there. Hopefully he continues to start, because he's quite critical. He can cross beautifully, and I think we need to try and utilise that more and more and more going forward. For me, the key is to play through the wide areas and make sure we maximise our width as best as possible against Brisbane. The reason I say that, Avram Papadopoulos, he's a really sort of he'll clean players up in a tackle if he has to. He's a rough going centre back. He's no nonsense, and I think AP will struggle against him if we play to AP's feet and try and use AP as the hold-up player. I don't think we'll get very far. I think key will be to get balls in from wide positions and just, like I said, try and utilise our width as best as possible against Brisbane. I've watched the Raw quite a bit this season, and Avram Papadopoulos, when teams try and play through the middle against Brisbane, that's his bread and butter. Despite his age, he's very experienced and it's still a very good centre back for this league. So I think don't try and play through the lines, just get it out wide as often as possible. That'll be our key to success against Brisbane. How exactly should Marco Kurz line up? There's plenty of options with that sort of front three. How he can work it. Who plays the number 10? What do you do with someone like Nathan Konstantopoulos, who's not been starting this season? Should he warrant a starting position? How exactly do you utilise his Ais? Is Goodwin, is it time that he gets played as more of a number 10 at the moment? Who do you play as the number 9? If you play Ken Ilso as the 9, then what happens to AP? There's all kinds of sort of questions going on. I'll wonder how Marco Kurz will line up. I think it'll be very interesting. So look out for the starting team. That's going to be very, very definitive in whether we get a winning result or not. And finally, did you know about Connor O'Toole? He's been playing in Brisbane's defence throughout this season. Huge raps on him, in really good form. Not a whole lot known about him. Well, guess what? During Guillermo Amour's time as the manager of Adelaide United, Connor O'Toole was running around for our youth team. Somehow he slipped under the radar entirely. Picked up by John Aloisi, and what do you know? He's a starting defender for Brisbane Roar in their senior team now. I wasn't aware of that. Came out in the Advertiser just today. Those are the key points for me. If you differ with any of the opinions that I've put out, or if you have any points you'd like to make sure you comment on the video below. And also make sure you get out to the fan cams post-match against Brisbane on Friday night. I'm sure they'll be going off as they always do. If you haven't had your say yet and you really want to, it's very easy to access the platform. Just come find us. We're by the merchandise stand on the Manton Street side. That's all I've really got for you guys. Always like and share the videos. If you haven't seen the Casio video yet, it's getting a lot of views, getting shared around a fair bit. Make sure you sit down and watch it. It is an amazing interview. He reveals so much about everything to do with his time as an Adelaide United player, even the things that are not on the public record. So make sure you watch that video and get around everything that Casio had to say in this very studio. Other than that, guys, been great bringing you another video. Again, make sure you get out to the fan cams. Look out for the fan cams video when it gets released shortly after the game, whether it's late Friday night, early Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, will probably be Saturday. That's all I've really got time for you guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you soon. Cheers, guys.